Morning BSN. Again, good morning and welcome everybody. Our program today, Good Morning BSN, is organized by the BSN Impact Center for Great Leadership. The center is an initiative of Business School Netherlands, and it is generously founded by the Culture Factor Group, formerly known as Hofstede Insights. And this is a company which I also work with. And our program and the Impact Center is sponsored by the new energy company Chint Global. The Impact Center for Great Leadership, which we also call ICGL, that's BSN's Impact Center for Great Leadership, is a platform where BSN alums and other managers and leaders from companies and society, they meet to share insights and to gain new practical knowledge. You can further contact us in the center for in-company programs to grow your talent and your teams within your organization. In BSN, we recognize that outstanding leadership rests on 4 pillars, and these pillars are responsible leadership, decision-making leadership, change leadership, and performance leadership. Our Zubina will focus on one of these 4 pillars every week, and in each episode, leaders like you will share their experiences, and we will all learn something that we can apply in our organizations, in our business, or in our work lives. Our session starts at 9:30 a.m. Central European Time, which is the time in Amsterdam, or Buren, where our school is located. And they end at 10:08 a.m. to give you a break before your working day begins. We also record these sessions so that you can access them afterwards. Please check our website and our YouTube page for past editions and so that you can watch them. Today's topic on Good Morning BSN is effective delegation in leadership. Effective delegation in leadership. This topic explores part of responsible leadership, and it is one of the 4 pillars of great leadership that we at BSN believe are crucial to making a difference in your organization and our world. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are glad to have Igo Orienu and Tosin Kenneth to help us explore this topic of effective delegation in leadership. Igo Orienu, our presenter today, is an experienced leadership coach with over 30 years experience. He has contributed to transforming the lives of more than 3,000 persons and over 1,000 organizations. He specializes in helping C-level executives, business owners, and professionals to achieve constant growth, sustainable success, and a boost in profitability. He is the co-founder and CEO of Rohi Consulting, ROHI Consulting. Igo Orienu, welcome to the program today. We also have, thank you very much. We also have with us our reflector, Tosin Kenneth. Tosin Kenneth is an experienced professional who works with Custodian Investment PLC. He's also a valued proud alum of Business School Netherlands, like myself. Tosin Kenneth, please light up your camera if you can, and greet the audience. Good morning to you. You are muted, Tosin.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. We are so glad to hear from you. We will start with a presentation from Igo, and thereafter we would have Tosin, our reflector, give his reflection on the presentation. And after that, we will have questions from the audience, questions and comments from the audience. We will read them out. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A box. There's a Q&A box, so please feel free to type your questions in there, or you can put them in the chat box as well. But please put them in the Q&A box so that we can read them out. Igo, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Oke Okere. I remember the first time we met at the Institute of Directors, and it's a great privilege to be invited to be the first presenter in this year, 2025. And the topic we are looking at is very, very important. I have benefited so much from it. And I'm hoping that by the end of today, we will take some things from here that will help us to navigate 2025 more effectively. Once again, I want to thank Prof. Bale and all the crew from BSN. So I go straight to my presentation, effective delegation in leadership. You know, leadership is all about influence. So that influence cannot be complete if there is no effective delegation. And a study by Gallup, recent study by Gallup, actually confirmed that, where it was discovered that CEOs who excelled at delegation, they generate 33% higher revenue. Think about that. CEOs who excel at delegation generated 33% higher revenue. There is no CEO who can improve in revenue generation with 33% that will not be applauded by the members of the board and the shareholders. So this is the essence of effective delegation. When we talk about effective delegation, we are talking about, especially in leadership, effective delegation in leadership is the synergy of trust, clarity, and accountability. Those three are very, very important. Trust, clarity, and accountability, where leaders empower their teams to innovate, to solve problems, and achieve excellence while maintaining a shared vision for success. Is very, very important. So effective delegation itself is tied around clearly defining tasks. Let's not behave like some bosses that will give 4 assignments in 10 minutes, and each of them, they will mark urgent, 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 urgent. So which of them is the most urgent? Effective delegation goes beyond that to clearly define the task and also provide the necessary tools, then trusting each of the team members to come with their own initiative and innovation to make sure that the problem is solved very well within the framework provided. And the framework provided is that of trust, is that of clarity, is that of accountability, is that of making sure that shared vision is not derailed and that excellence is achieved. And the bottom line, performance improves, revenue improves, everybody is happy. That is the essence of effective delegation. So the core principles that can help us in effective delegation as leaders, number 1 is trust. And I'm sure you know trust is earned. It's not enforced on anyone. So I always jokingly tell people that I'm a Christian, and when I see somebody for the first time in any meeting with a big Bible and a big sticker on his suit saying that, believe it or not, I'm a Christian, that is the person I will not believe. You don't force me to believe you. Let my relationship with you show that you are a Christian. So trust is earned, it's not enforced on anyone. The next one is clear communication. And clear communication comes with when there is connection. What is in it for the next person in the team? How do I make sure that we all come to the same level of understanding, of comprehension, even before we proceed? And this, even if it means repetition, means making sure that everybody is carried along. It's fine. There's no issue like can't you just understand something once and for all? No, 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 no. The communication must be clear. Then the third one is empowerment. Where there is trust, empowerment must also follow, because there's no empowerment, everybody will just fold their hands and be waiting for a guy, or waiting for the boss, or waiting for the leader. So everyone in the team should be empowered to play their part. Then there must be support. Support actually comes in the form of the cost of delegation. Because if I am 15 years, if I am with 15 years experience on this job, and somebody is just coming in less than 6 months, it will take some time for him to get to understand some of those things. And that time I should invest it in training, in coaching, in propping up. And where there are mistakes, I should be able to support and correct the person properly, not talking down on the team members. So support is very, very important. And then accountability. Because with accountability comes with measurement, comes with awareness that these are the things we need to do. And you know that anything that you cannot control, anything you are not aware of, that you cannot measure, that you cannot control, to a large extent does not even exist at all. And that is where accountability comes in. It's not a matter of, I am the leader, I'm not accountable to anybody. No, the leader and every member of the team, they are accountable to the team with regards to what we have agreed to do, the problem that we are solving, and the shared vision. Where are we in our shared vision? All of this goes a long way to ensure that the delegation that we are talking about is effective and the results are met within the framework. Okay, so here are 6 steps that can help us in delegating effectively. Step-by-step process of delegating tasks effectively. The first step is choose the right task and the right person. It should be round peg in round hole, square peg in square hole. So that is the main thing. Let's find out where the proficiencies and the competencies of the team members are, and let the best for this task be the one given to do it. It is easier to get greater results where the best person for this task is assigned to do the task. Imagine in a football team, you are asking the #1 goalkeeper in the city to go and be a striker. It will be disastrous. So once you are able to get that right, then every other thing follows. So step 1, choose the right task for the right person. Then the next thing follows. That is, clearly define the task, define the expectations and the deadlines. It is very important. Where there are no deadlines and your team is made up of some people, sorry to say, that have worked maybe in place where there are no deadlines and there are no strict compliance. They might just be doing an assignment that's supposed to be covered for 2 hours. They will do it for the whole day. And when you ask them, they will tell you, hello, sir, we are still on it. We are still on it. We are still on it. And they are not getting results. So after step 1 is settled, the next thing is we define the task and the expectations and the deadlines very well, because once there's no deadline, people will just begin to do whatever they like. It will just be made decision. Then the third step is provide necessary resources and authority. You cannot just ask somebody to go and begin to do it. What should he use to do it? And what the authority that will make him to be respected and for his tasks to be followed through should also be given. That is step 3. Then step 4 is establish checkpoints and feedback mechanism steps. All right? Without checkpoints, somebody might be doing the wrong thing. and he will not know. Then we are told feedback is the breakfast of champions. So, and feedback simply means effective and constructive criticism to make sure that we do not lose track of where we are going or the things that we want to do. Then the fifth point is monitor progress without micromanaging. Release the person and let the person begin to do it. Then the sixth step is evaluate results and provide constructive feedback. So you can say feedback is showing 2 times again. So these are the 6 steps. And lastly, are there benefits? Yes, there are a lot of benefits of effective management. The first benefit to the leader, it frees up time for strategic thinking and high priority tasks. It also develops more leaders and reduces stress and burnout. That is very, very key. Then for the team members, effective delegation and leadership enhances skills and members' confidence. It increases job satisfaction, it increases engagement, and it provides opportunity for growth. Because you cannot be adjudged to be a successful leader if you are not succeeded by a successful successor. Effective delegation brings this to bear, whereby there's opportunity for growth and continuity in the system, and it prepares everyone for future leadership. I remember when I retired from the civil service, one of the units I headed, the person that was next to me was 2 steps below me, but because of effective delegation by the grace of God, when I left, it was asked to just take over. They did not bring in another director to come and take it. They said, you have done so much with ego and you already know the rules of the game, and it continued. Then, benefit to the organization. For the organization, it enhances productivity, it fosters innovation, and it builds a strong, capable workforce. So the workforce, they all come together and they know what they are doing, they know what they are pursuing. So these are the benefits. So I will want to wrap up by reminding us that true leadership isn't measured by what you can do alone. No, 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 no. But it is measured by what your team can achieve together when you empower them to act. I take it again. True leadership isn't measured by what you can do alone, but by what your team can achieve together when you empower them to act. So as leaders, let's empower them to act properly, following these steps that we have discussed. And I assure you, you might even achieve more than 33% revenue generation at the end of this year. So I wish you all the best, and I want to stop here. Thank you for listening, and thank you, BSN, for the opportunity to deliver this paper. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Igo Oreno, and I want to appreciate you being on time. Thank you very much. We will be taking questions. I already see that there's a question to answer, but we will take those questions afterwards. It's my pleasure to welcome Tosin Kenneth to give his reflection on the presentation, and thereafter we would have questions. If you have a question, please remember to type it in the Q&A box. Tosin, over to you. Reflections, please.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. And also thank you very much to Mr. Igo Oreno for the very insightful sessions. You reiterated some things that are very effective for delegation to succeed in any team or in any system we find ourselves. One of the few things I liked about what you mentioned was that effective delegation builds leaders. It's without question that if you do not delegate, you will just be the only one in the leadership role in your team. And also, I like the fact that you mentioned that effective delegation requires constructive feedbacks. Constructive feedbacks in the sense that it allows you to be in constant relation with whoever you're delegating with. So the product of your delegation would also reflect your own leadership. And I like the fact that you mentioned some of the few mistakes that happen when you don't delegate effectively. And I'm sure many of us will have been in situations where a upline just handed you a task and you said, go and handle it. Because those are one of the few mistakes of effective delegation. It's the mistakes of lack of clear communication that you mentioned is a very key thing that needs to be addressed when you want to delegate. Because in some teams, when you don't understand the objective, it really affects the result of what you are supposed to give. And I like the fact that you also mentioned that micromanaging is not the key, is not the way forward. Because micromanaging gives the sense of delegation, but does not give the team members the autonomy to perform. And I like the fact that you mentioned all that, and we should always avoid these common mistakes in effective delegation. We've all worked in teams where the managers did not allow you to breathe, did not allow you to perform the task. And this really, it does not allow you to be expressive enough in dealing with the task at hand. And also, I like the idea that regular check-in, it is the way forward. Regular check-ins with whoever you delegate your task to. It would be in sense of a constructive session where you ask for how far it has been going. And I know in some teams, in most of the leaders that I've had the privilege of working with, those sessions are always sessions I look forward to, where they sit you down and they say, how have you been doing this? What is the challenges that you've been having? How do you need to, what do you need to do? And they offer constructive advices. That is not micromanaging. And I enjoyed the fact that you also reflected it in your session. Also, something I want to also mention is the fact that we need to celebrate successes. Whenever someone that you delegated a task to is doing perfectly well, you need to state it out. You need to voice out those commendations, because in doing so, you improve the esteem of the person you delegated the task to, and that also helps the person's confidence in future tasks. And also, I like the fact that you mentioned choosing the right person for the right task. Choosing the right is a very important key. You might have team members that are very good analytically. You might have team members that their negotiation skills are very good. You need to understand that when something like this comes up, when you need to delegate, you know your team members, you know those that are good in certain areas of the business. And it allows you to delegate effectively, because you know when it's time to analyze, you know the right person to pick. When it's time for negotiation, you know the right person to pick. And this gives you allowance to focus on more strategy based thinking for the business. It gives you time to focus on the upline and major things that the business should focus on. It is very effective. And also, I like the fact that you mentioned increasing job satisfaction. Without effective delegation, we will not have more leaders. Transition plan would not be effective, because it builds leadership when people are satisfied with what they do, when there is a sense of satisfaction in the fact that they handled the task, someone trusted in them, someone believed in them, and they did it well. And in cases where people make mistakes, it's very important that the feedbacks are constructive, because you allow them that allowance, and you let them know that in this journey, you can always come to me for anything that you need, and you can always get constructive feedback from me on how to do it. I thank you for the session, and it was a really insightful session all around for me. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very much, Tosin. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for your wonderful reflection. Again, to everybody, if you are just joining us, if you have questions, please type them in the Q&A box. We already have 2 questions in there, and we will be asking those questions right now. But we would like to hear from you if you have more questions. The first question is from Carol Aribi, and Carol is asking, what are the ways to measure if delegation was successful? What are the ways to measure if delegation was successful? And I'm going to be directing this question to our speaker, Mr. Eagle. Eagle, what are the ways to measure if delegation is successful?
Thank you, Carol. I really appreciate this question. It's very, very important because anything that you do not measure, most times do not even exist. You will not even know whether you are on the right track. So the first thing is, don't think about measurement first, because garbage in, garbage out. That is why I brought back this screen on the step-by-step process of delegating tasks. So the first thing is the right person doing the right task? If yes, then what about the task that is given to the person? There's no need of ambiguity. There should be clear definition of the task, what is expected to be done, and the deadlines. Because a goal is a dream with a deadline. The time is expected. So if that is done, measurability becomes very, very easy. And that is where we have, that's point number 4, which is checkpoints. In fact, before number 4, you must have done number 3 to provide the necessary thing. So number 4 is, step number 4 answers your question, whereby there are checkpoints and they are constructive feedback. The mechanism is already fixed in. There's nothing like it's hunting me, or it does not like me, or they tribalize and things like that. No, everybody knows from the onset. But if those first steps are not followed, what are you going to measure? It will be difficult. So if we take the first thing first and we put it as a mechanism in the system, automatically you will be able to know what is being done, how is being done. And if there are variances, you can easily notice the variances, you need them at the board, and you correct, and you keep going on. So that is what I will want to, that is the way I will want to answer that. I hope, Carol, I've been able to answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Igor. Thank you. And we have another question from Bruno Ebinum. And Bruno is asking, how do you delegate tasks to people who are not proficient, especially as you keep delegating to the same persons? How do you delegate tasks to people who are not proficient?
Thank you. This I do not have all the picture that that made you to ask this question, because where I worked last, I worked in the civil service. Some people might just be thrown to you to work with you, even if they are not the right people to do the job. If that is the situation, you have to take time to train, okay, and make sure that the person is trainable. If you have done your training and it's not trainable, then that is where performance appraisal comes in. Okay, so the first thing is, don't just assume the person cannot do it. Remember, I mentioned briefly the cost of delegation. I did not really have time to dwell on that. So maybe I will just emphasize that a bit. The cost of delegation says that you don't assume the person to do it as good as yourself, because you've been there for 10 years. The guy just coming in 2 months ago. So the cost of delegation is that you would spend some time to train them. Let me give you a practical example. When I have 3 adult young boys, my sons, when they were growing up, I told them that going forward, you guys are grown up enough to help daddy with the house chores. The first thing was that help daddy to wash car. So I taught my son how to wash car, but the first day he washed the car, when I came outside, it looked like it was dirtier than before he washed it. So I said, well, I'm the one that is teaching delegation. I know the cost of delegation. Come, man, let's do it together. I taught him how to do it. You know, so that is the cost of delegation. After a while, he picked up, and washing of car was outside my job function. It's no more my job function. So you train, but you must factor in the cost of delegation. If you have done all of that, Brian Tracy said that there are some people who refuse to fly as eagle, they remain as pig. Then performance appraiser will take care of that. That is the way I want to answer that question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that's the last question we have. We do have some comments though. I have a comment from Vincent Yeboah Aswama. Aswama. Vincent from Ghana, he says he has a contribution to the fact that delegation begins when leaders recognize the fact that they and the team members are equal, that what they can do, the team members can equally do it. However, like you have said, Ego, you have said for us to remember the cost of delegation. There's some time for the individuals concerned to learn, to become proficient in the tasks that have been delegated to them. The first time they wash the car, it might look dirtier than when the car was before the car was washed. But do give them time, train them, and you will see over time, of course, if they are applying themselves to learning, that they can do the job over time. So thanks again. We do have a few other people who are in the audience that have sent some comments as well. Thank you, Carol, for your question and your comment. Carol said finding the right balance between regular checking and micromanaging is very important. And we have Humphrey Vito Martina. Humphrey, it's good to see you again on the program. Humphrey says, thank you, Mr. Eagle. Clear presentation in balance like a teacher with experience and inspiring people to delegate in structure. Thank you so much. And we also have some comments from Idioma and James Cargo from Freetown in Sierra Leone. Thank you so much again, everybody, for joining this. We're coming to the end of our Zoomina today. Next week, let's just preview next week. Next week, we shall be discussing the impact of anger on leadership. Anger on leadership, the impact. And this will be with Hans van Buiten, and I hope I got the pronunciation correctly, Hans van Buiten from Connected Action Learning, and we also have Bern Gaffar from Evans Therapeutics Limited. So I'm going to have Hans van Buiten, Ben Gaffar, talking about the impact of anger on leadership. But before we wrap up, I want to thank everybody for making today an excellent session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. We also would like to thank Eagle for his presentation. Thank you so much for your presentation. And Tosi, thank you as well for your reflection. We really appreciate both of you.
Thank you.
Team BSN, the team at BSN who have been working behind the scenes to make this happen. Thank you so much to our corporate partners, the Culture Factor and Chint Global. Thank you as well. And of course, to our fantastic audience, we cannot thank you enough. We are glad that you participated today. We look forward to seeing you again in the next edition. Please remember to check our website and our YouTube page for the recordings of the past sessions. And if you would like to feature as a presenter, a speaker, or a reflector on this program, or if you want more information about BSN or our programs, or you want information about BSN's Impact Center for Great Leadership, please feel free to get in touch with us. And the email address is info-icgl@bsn.eu. And I will put that in the chat box for those of us who would like to send a message. Again, the email to contact us with is info-icgl@bsn.eu. Thank you, everybody. See you again next week.